Hello and happy Tuesday to all of you tuning in today. I'm Allison O'Toole, the very proud CEO of Second Harvest Heartland. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in over and over again for our weekly progress report on the quickly changing COVID-19 era hunger fight. Hunger is indeed spreading in lockstep with the economic downturn. It's become increasingly clear to me as the pandemic deepens and spreads that hunger is going to get worse before it gets better. We're preparing for especially difficult times late this summer when the lifeline of temporary federal benefits expires for thousands of Minnesota families. The colleagues and friends who are joining me today understand the depth of the crisis we're facing, and they're among those presenting fixes that are big, bold, and inspiring enough to see us through these tough times. They come from different industries, but they're all frontline COVID fighters, and they are unified by their desire to keep folks working and fed, and to remind us of the joy that comes from eating together and feeding our community. So glad that you all are here today. I'm pleased to introduce two of our dedicated chefs, Chef Liz from Chowgirls Catering fame and one of our founders. New to our efforts, Chef Ben from one of my favorite breweries, Surly. We're honored to welcome Adair Mosley, President and CEO of Pillsbury United Community, where justice lives. Aaron Palm, CFO of Appetite for Change, where they're using food to build change in North Minneapolis. And Cathy Maes, our close partner and executive director of Loaves Fishes, Minnesota, delivering meals, kindness, and comfort every day. Welcome, everyone. Minnesota Central Kitchen, under the guidance of these amazing leaders, redeploys furloughed hospitality workers and turns on idle restaurant kitchens to fight hunger. Beginning with a chef's dream to continue feeding people despite the closure of much of her industry, and growing into a statewide movement, Minnesota Central Kitchen has distributed over 306,000 meals in the last 10 weeks. And that bears repeating. 306,220 meals prepared by some of our community's top chefs and distributed by our strong neighborhood partners in meal programs. The team now includes 100 food service workers newly employed by the program, and we are now 5 kitchen sites strong and are proud that we have recovered over 554,000 pounds of food since launching. This team is unstoppable. And now I'd like to invite Chef Liz, one of our founders, to tell us what inspired her to found Minnesota Central Kitchen. Chef Liz?
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Second Harvest Heartland, Loaves and Fishes, anyone that's touched this project and has been a part of it. It's just really unbelievable. When you say those numbers today, it just floored me. It's like, I can't believe how far we've come in these last couple months. There's obviously a huge need right now. There is a community that is needing us to keep going. And like Allison said, the need is gonna continue and progress. So I am hopeful that we can keep going to meet those needs for our community. I'm Liz Mullen, Executive Chef of Chowgirls Catering, and we saw our business completely fall apart, like most restaurants and food service. A lot of our clients obviously weren't wanting to get together and party like normal. So I reached out to my friend Diane Wirtz at Second Harvest Heartland, who I have been working with through Meal Connect, which is that wonderful app that restaurants and food service can give leftover prepared food to get to anyone in our community that needs it. And wow, that is insane as well, to see the food that we've saved and have been able to make meals. And thank you to Cathy over at Loaves and Fishes for just the distribution piece. People keep asking me how this has come together so quickly. And I think, yes, we all had to pivot, but this is things we know how to do. And to have those partners was just a really quick transition. I am so excited, like I said, to keep going. I think this is a wonderful time to teach my children how to be compassionate and how to help. So I'm just extremely excited, and I can't believe we're up to 5 kitchens now. I can't wait to see where this goes. And I'm going to pass it off to Ben Peine, the executive chef at Surly Brewing Company. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Liz. And I want to say thank you to Liz and everyone at MCK who have really set up this plan and structure that allows us to really come in and hit the ground running. You know, it was kind of daunting at first to figure out ways that we could help, and to have these systems really dialed in and allow us to hit the ground running is, I can't thank you enough. So thank you very much to everyone that has been doing this from the start. We at Surly are incredibly grateful and excited to be part of this program. You know, we're grateful to be able to use our resources, both in the size of our kitchen and our staff, to really do some good and to help people out in this time of need. And we are, you know, it's, I kind of look at it as really benefit on 2 sides. We can help those people and feed these people that desperately need this food, and we're bringing back people that desperately need the paychecks and need the work. So it is, there are so many good aspects to this that I just can't say enough, and thank you for everyone. And so we at Surly are looking to produce about 4,000 meals going forward. And yeah, I want to actually really put out a word to all of our fans and all of our people that have been coming to Surly and drinking our beer. I want to put out a call to all those in what we call Surly Nation to help out, especially in this time of need. Donate to Second Harvest. You know, every dollar that goes there can be equated to about 3 meals. So that money really goes a long way. So I'm hoping that if you are able to donate, please do, because we are able to see right now what that translates into, and for all the food that's donated, that's coming in, that we're repurposing, and then sending out to meals. And with that, I want to pass it along to Adair Mosley. He can further kind of relay and talk about the impact of all these meals in our community.
Sure. Thank you, Chef Ben. Good morning, everyone. Adair Mosley, and I have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO of Pillsbury United Communities, a 140-year-old community impact organization co-creating with community to build a more just society. That work manifests itself into 3 areas: people, place, and prosperity for us, and in roughly serving about 50,000 annually that come in contact with us here in our region. We are really, really honored to be a part of the Minnesota Central Kitchen, its level of innovation. And I believe what this represents is the Minnesota altruism at its best, and the innovative and entrepreneurial spirit of businesses, of our nonprofit communities really coming together to create enduring change in our communities. The other part of this, as was noted by my 2 previous colleagues, is that this serves an entire ecosystem. And so as we've talked about the workers who are now able to be employed through this, and then also making sure that we get food in the hands of the thousands that desperately need it during this moment. What COVID has unearthed for Pillsbury United Communities is what we've long known is the deep and entrenched inequities that rest in our community. And that hunger certainly didn't just show up today, that it has been a persistent and stubborn inequity that we have been trying to address collectively as a community. And so we are really, really proud to be a part of this effort that continues to catalyze our level of innovation. Since our COVID relief efforts, Pillsbury United Communities has handed out over 200,000 pounds of food in partnership with organizations like Second Harvest Heartland. And that's 2,000 unique households. And so this type of opportunity comes along that's additive to that work, that allows us to really build a robust infrastructure of getting meals in the hands of community. We're going to be deploying these resources in our Cedar Riverside community, one of the most heavily and densely populated parts of our city that desperately needs this. But I would also like to share that as people think about the communities that we're serving, remember that they are extremely resilient and that they are self-determined. And it is our goal to remove the barriers that stand in the way of human progress and simply use our platforms and the tools that we have as institutions and individuals to make sure that our families are thriving and well. And so we are extremely honored to be a part of this level of innovation and making sure that these meals get into the hands of our communities, our neighbors. And so with that, I am honored to pass the mic to Aaron at Appetite for Change.
Thanks, Adair. My name is Aaron Palm. I'm the Chief of Strategy and Finance for Appetite for Change. And we are an organization based on the north side of Minneapolis, where we use food as a tool to build health, wealth, and social change within our communities. One of the biggest effects, as Adair pointed out, that has happened with COVID is it has simply exacerbated the existing inequities that have happened, which means that communities like the north side of Minneapolis have been hit harder than many others. And what working with Minnesota Central Kitchen has allowed us to do is provide stability within our own kitchen to maintain employment at a time where our regular business lines were unable to have the same volume and needs, and to repurpose a lot of our great and wonderful existing talent to provide stability in meals for our community in a variety of ways. As we've seen, the combination of sort of public and private industry coming together is a powerful force, and we're so honored to be a part of that. At Appetite for Change, we have 9 different programs that service our community, everything from working with youth to providing farmers markets to urban gardening, and to our business lines of operating cafes and catering. And one of the things that we've noticed is we thought we were able to combine our ties within the community and our production within our kitchen to provide a unique and dynamic response within our own community. But we know that this isn't going anywhere. This is going to continue for long after where the governor says it's okay to go back to work in the hospitality industry, the retail industry, and all other affected industries. So being a part of this initiative both now and into the future for all of us, we find critical, and we're honored to be a part of it, Appetite for Change. And with that, I will pass the mic to Cathy Maes at Loaves Fishes.
Thank you, Aaron. Loaves Fishes, the largest free restaurant in Minnesota, is what we have called ourselves, and we feel like we just continue to get larger. In fact, the numbers bear out. In 2018, we rescued 700,000 pounds of food. Just in March and April, we did the same of this year. In 2018, we served 1.3 million meals in 4 months. In 2020, we did the same. We are now looking to what's next. How will we safely open up our open to the public dining locations? We're watching restaurants. We are studying every single site to make certain that we do it safely. And it might not be soon. We will continue to do our to-go model, which has been wildly successful. Adds a lot of anonymity to our project. You know, I love to tell the stories, and I love Liz Mullen to tell her the great work that they're doing is making a difference for people. In fact, somebody saw a story about Minnesota Central Kitchen, and their children donated their allowances to Loaves Fishes for the work that we're doing together. It's a powerful story. I also tend to search the Star Tribune every morning and to see if there are any stories about Loaves Fishes. And there was a story, and it was a woman who passed away, and her family honored our work in memorials because she dined with us in our Bloomington location for many, many years. And so the food that we are serving people from babies until death is really, really important. And it's great work that we're doing together. So with that, I know that people will have some questions. And Elizabeth, you want to take it away?
Yes, thanks so much, everybody, for the great words. First question comes from Alina in St. Paul. She says, wonderful work, everyone. Where did the idea for this partnership come from originally? Chef Liz, maybe I'll ask you to start us off with that one.
Sure. Yeah, like I said, I saw all of our business going away, and we just have this big, beautiful kitchen that I'm extremely proud of. And my crew that is just amazing. And yeah, I reached out to, I just knew that there was going to be a bigger need with everything happening. And I wanted to offer our space for Second Harvest to whatever they needed for that. And Thierry Ebry, who is the COO of Second Harvest Heartland, had recently, and Second Harvest had recently been a part of Jose Andres coming to Minneapolis. And obviously the work he's done is just amazing. And so we really, wanted to model it after that as well.
Chef Liz, will you give the audience a little bit of an intro to Jose Andres in case they aren't familiar with him?
Yeah, so he's a Spanish chef, famous, and he really in the last, he initially started during Puerto Rico's hurricanes and he came in there and set up huge tents and was feeding people during that time when, there was no homes or no electricity. And he has now done that work all over. Really mostly on the coast. And so I think this is where Minnesota Central Kitchen comes in is, we're Midwesterners and we wanted to make sure that we were taking care of our neighbors. So that's kind of where it spurred, and Second Harvest said yes, and Loaves and Fishes said yes. And so we were able to just hit the ground running, and within 3 days, we had a whole new business plan, and we had food incoming and making meals. So it was so fast and really unbelievable.
I think too, we saw that we were going to be caught between a rock and a hard place as our volunteers started to step away, and that's okay. And we needed Chowgirls and Surly's food to make certain that we could do the work.
Fantastic. Thanks, Cathy. Thanks, Chef Liz. Question from Thomas. Walk me through how it works. Where does this food come from and where does it go? So maybe, again, Chef Liz, if you want to start us off, sure. And then sort of folks can pipe up as the food kind of follows its path to community tables.
Yeah. So originally, we have a lot of different ways we're getting food now, but originally it was a lot of the restaurants that were closing down through that Meal Connect app, like I spoke of before. Where we used to send our food to, now all of that food was coming into the Chowgirls kitchen. So we started making meals with all of the food that was really had no place to go. The couple weeks after that, we started seeing food coming from the warehouses that supply to the restaurants and the warehouses that supply to the warehouses that supply to the restaurants. And now, people have just been so generous with donations, and, Cisco has really given a lot, and Classic and Fortune. And I mean, there's just so many companies that saw, their business disappearing, but wanted to help. So that's where a lot of that food has come from thus far. And now we're able to utilize food through Second Harvest Heartland And people from Loaves and Fishes, Kylie has been generous to make sure that we're getting the food that we need to. But really, it's just a lot of donations, a lot of giving.
Right. And Adair and Aaron, do you want to talk a little bit about how these meals get out to help your community members?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, particularly with this program where we'll be deploying it to the Cedar Riverside community, we will receive those meals and then have a very robust kind of distribution plan of making sure that those that are in the Cedar Riverside community, as you know, it's heavily dense within 2 blocks. And so a lot of folks that are coming and utilizing our Brian Coyle Center will walk over more than likely to pick up their meal. And so this meets that more, immediate food insecurity on a daily basis.
Great.
Yeah, and I will say on the north side, so what we've done is we've had our program managers reach out to different partners in the community and ask, are there ways we can be utilizing and are you seeing demand? And how can we partner to make sure we get people meals in need? And so we have a whole variety of partners and we're actually self-distributing. So we're utilizing a lot of our catering logistics staff to go ahead and once our meals are made and packaged, they go ahead and distribute daily. So some days we're going to be sort of on the road from 9 a.m. until 4 doing various drops. And it's a relatively dynamic situation because it turns out the need is not the same every day in every place. And every week we make slight adjustments to respond to the needs as we're able.
Got it. Thanks so much. All right, we have another question from Kate Link. Hi, Kate. Is there a long-term plan for the kitchen? When partnering restaurants begin to open up for business, is this something that will be continued? Are there discussions to keep it going? Allison, maybe you can start us off with that one.
Yeah, I'm happy to. And thanks so much for that question. It's an important one. As we see the need increase, I talked about late summer, it is very likely to be a prolonged need in our community. And as Adair said, this need pre-existed this crisis, and we want to keep going. And we are problem solving every single minute of every single day, but also looking forward to figure out how we can sustain this, to be a permanent fixture in our hunger relief network. As Cathy said too earlier, we're in the strategy phase about how we do that, how we adjust as some of the restaurants who are working with us and those kitchens are reopening, and how we adjust and transition into a new phase of Minnesota Central Kitchen. So stay tuned, but we are all, I think, committed to making sure that this is a permanent fixture. The need is there, the need is growing, and we will be there with this community.
Great. Thanks, Allison. Now a question from Gina for Chef Ben and Chef Liz. How many culinary staff members have returned to work due to this program? If you happen to have a number or...
Yeah, so I most of my management staff is still on. A lot of our hourly staff, I would say a quarter of our hourly staff. It's that balance right now is so hard for so many, but a lot for the hourly workers that are on unemployment and the benefits that are there for them right at this moment. We want to make sure that they are able to take care of that. So, we try to keep people, if they want to only work about 20 hours a week, we work with that. So it's been a whole new ball of wax. So there's a lot of part-time workers, which is great because it's allowed a lot of people to come through our kitchen. My chefs are seeing new faces almost on the daily. And there's just people in the community that want to come and help out and help us make the food. So some of our staff, has decided that they don't feel necessarily ready to come back, or have had, we have really tried to put this safe vetting system into the people that come through our kitchen, because we want to make sure that the people at our headquarters are staying safe and healthy. So yeah, there's been a lot of our staff too has just decided that, you know, they're not quite ready to come back to the world, and that's okay too. Hopefully we'll continue this, and that we'll be there for them when they're ready.
And we at Surly, we've been able to bring back about 10 employees kind of working in different shifts. And most of those employees are getting full-time hours right now, as we've been, you know, gearing up for MCK production and doing some production for a private client with Second Harvest the previous 5 weeks. So that's been really great. And most of those people are really the heart of our prep team, which is what our kitchen is built on. And a lot of those employees have been with us from day one. So at least a few of those employees have been with us from, like I said, from day one for 5 years. And those are the people that that I rely on in normal operations to really keep us, you know, churning out the food. And it's been awesome to see them pivot to this new model. And they've been grateful to be working, and I've been grateful for the hard work that they've been doing.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think, Ben, you can also echo this too. The work feels completely different. And so there's a whole new feeling of coming to work, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, a question from Dana. What is one of your favorite menu meals you've created, and how do you plan a menu with donated food? So I'm going to ask Ben and Chef Liz to tell us about that. And Cathy, I think you'll have some things to add too. I know that you do some preparation work in your kitchens.
I'll start it off. So we, for the previous 5 weeks, like I said, we've been doing meals for a private company through Second Harvest and MCK. And so we've been using, for that purpose, less donated meals, because each meal needed to be the same for all of those customers for that week. But we've been kind of doing some, different random meals that are more curated meals. And strangely enough, one of our meals that the clients reached out and really dug and wanted recipes for was just a tater tot hot dish, you know, the Minnesota staple. So as we've been doing that, that was really strange and actually really heartwarming to see people giving back or just giving us such good feedback for those meals. And now that we're really trying to churn through a lot of donated meals and curate meals out of that, we're putting together some, you know, all kinds of different meals, whether it's we have a loaded brisket baked potato we're working on in the production kitchen today. So we're going to start to see some really creative use out of that donated food.
Excellent. Chef Liz, I know
Yeah.
you've gotten creative.
Yeah, well, and honestly, my chef de cuisine, Ari Baker-Kern, and my sous chefs have really been just more in the kitchen, as a lot of this other work has taken me out of the kitchen. But they have just been amazing. The first 2 weeks, like I said, all of that food coming from restaurants, it was smaller quantities. So there was a lot of meals that they were making because they didn't want to just, you know, hodgepodge it all into one pot and call it a day. They're really taking pride and making sure, you know, just like paying clients, we want to make sure people have healthy, delicious food to eat. So we've been doing a lot of like rice and beans that people have loved, wraps, burritos, like egg wraps. You know, there's just, it's different every day. And luckily, you know, we usually do a family meal at work as well. So we usually get to taste the wares on the daily. So it's awesome.
And Cathy, what are you seeing come through, and what are folks enjoying? What feedback are you getting about the meals?
The feedback is incredible. We get handwritten notes saying thank you for the wonderful healthy meals. It's, when there are a lot of eggs, there's egg strata. Everybody's, you know, that just happens. Everyone's going to have, you know, breakfast for dinner. There's been shrimp gumbo, some other fish that has come through the system, barbecued ribs, you name it. But what we make certain is that there's a fresh fruit and vegetable in every meal that goes out. So we really rely on Chowgirls for a side and the main entree. And then our chefs put together the to-go meals and make certain that it looks pretty and colorful and is healthy.